Nate better have a good intro question or I'm going to quit the podcast. Welcome to Tabletop Shop.
Hello and welcome back to the Tabletop Shop podcast. The emergence of AI art has been a particularly hot topic in the world of board games, so we thought it was time to divulge our opinions on the matter. For what it's worth, anyway. I'm one of your co-hosts, Nate Clark, and as always, seated across the country from me is your other co-host, Mr. Cody Pennington.
Nate, how many different kinds of armadillos are there?
Ooh, that's a boring question, but I'm gonna go with 3, roughly. Are we counting pangolins?
No.
Are we counting penguins?
Penguins, if there was an armored penguin, I'd be willing to call it an armadillo.
I call it whatever it wants.
Nate, there's a lot more than 3, it looks like. We've got 9 banded armadillos, giant armadillos, hairy armadillos.
Hairy.
Sounds counterproductive. A pink fairy armadillo? Oh, you gotta look that one up, dude. It looks like a mole with some armor on top of it.
Can't believe I'm Googling this. What, dude? That's like a genetically modified organism. That ain't...
It's like an AI generated animal, dude. What is this thing? It disturbs me a little bit. It looks like a groundhog that has like just a crustacean attached to its head.
Dude, imagine actually seeing one of those in the wild. That would be insane.
I'd be like, yeah, am I in Area 51 or some weird scientific
Or did
reserve?
I just do shrooms?
Yeah, or both.
Okay, intro question for you, Cody. This is
Yeah, man.
might be something that comes back again in the future. But we're going to do a series of little mini questions here, okay? And this is a litmus test of sorts.
Do I only have like 2 seconds to answer each one or
No,
something?
no. It's not that intense. It's more of a how well do you know me kind of a test, okay?
Oh.
You ready for
okay.
this? So
Hey,
we got a few questions.
I almost won one of these competitions. No, actually, no, you were there. It was when we did that like wedding reception party thing at your parents' house.
Yeah.
Your dad made up all these questions.
Yeah. Well done.
So I've got some good odds.
Okay, first question, Cody. And these are all board game related, of course.
Oh, okay. All right.
Do I prefer the ratchet mechanism or the rondelle mechanism?
I would think ratchet.
That is incorrect, Cody.
Oh, what?
Yeah, man. Rondelle is like, that's like the Great Western Trail thing, Maracaibo. Like, this is like, I think last year, it was my one where I was like, I want to see more of these games on my list next year. In like 2023, I think that was my thing.
So what differentiates a ratchet from a rondelle?
Ratchet,
thinking about it.
Ratchet is like Takedo. So there's one track and you can go like as far as you want, but you can't go backwards. Rondelle is something that you go around multiple times like Viscounts or Great Western Trail. Yeah.
Okay. So I guess I would think of a rondelle as a repeating ratchet.
Yeah, right, because you can only go one direction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you don't care about that ratchet. You want more of that rondelle.
Yeah, man. I want more of that
Got
rondelle.
it.
Okay.
Got it.
Off to a bad start, but
Heaven and Ale, speaking of rondelles, which is sad.
yeah, well, I don't really like that game that much, so.
Dang it. All right.
Cody, and also these in theory get harder as they go. I'm not sure. Okay.
Well, that's a bad start for me.
We could just skip the rest.
Yeah.
Which theme do I enjoy the most in board gaming? Nature, ancient history, or sci-fi?
Well, throw nature out of there. That's definitely last.
Okay.
I mean, I would think sci-fi you'd like more. I could be wrong.
You are, in fact, wrong. I do prefer the ancient history, those, civilizations. I love history. I love, not necessarily pre-lithic, but like, anything ancient or medieval or Neolithic or, all that kind of stuff I love, so.
Okay. All right. Where's fantasy fall in there?
Fantasy's pretty high, but it really depends. Fantasy can be really hit or miss because it's one of those things where if it's too generic, I really don't like it,
Okay.
So If it's too Lord of the Ringsy without being Lord of the Rings, I'm kind of like, get this trash. Like Andor, Legends of Andor. It's kind of like feels really uninspired. But
Stronghold 2nd Edition
is just medieval. It's like, I mean, it's fantasy, but it's like low key fantasy. It's mostly medieval.
Yeah.
So
okay. All right. So I'm 0 for 2.
0 for 2. Here we go.
Doing great.
Next question, Cody. Do I prefer roll-in rights or flip-in rights?
I'm gonna say flippin' rights because I know you love cartographers.
That would be correct. Yes, I do love cartographers. Yes. Next Station, all the Next Station games. Honestly, I haven't played that many of either, but I guess Hadrian's Wall is also a flippin' right. Three Sisters though is a good roll-in right.
Yeah. How about Rawrin' right?
Yeah, that's also a good one. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right, so I finally got one.
There you go.
How many questions are there?
There's, I guess, 4 more.
So 7 total. So if I can at least get 4, I'll have more than 50%. So I need 3 more right.
Okay.
Of the next 4. Got it.
No cheating on this question, Cody.
Okay. All right. Okay.
I own 3 games that start with the letter L. Name one of them.
Lorenzo Il Magnifico.
Hey, nice.
Because you like that one. You like that one.
Can you get any of the other ones?
Oh, let me think about this.
The other 2 are harder.
L. Are these going to be like smaller, obscure ones?
No.
Aren't
like
necessarily
I own them.
Popular?
I own them, so I don't own that many games.
Okay.
Okay, time's up.
Yeah, I got nothing, man.
One of them is La Granja, which is kind of like the la means the, so that's kind of,
Well,
is it a G game?
L, so
Is it an L game or yeah? And then the other one would be Lord of the Rings Fellowship with the Ring deck builder.
Oh, you still own that?
Yeah. I don't have it with me,
son.
but I do own it still.
Sell that, dude. Sell it because they are valuable.
I know, right? Okay. The next 3 questions, but you're 2 for 4 now, so that's good, Cody. The next 3 questions are...
But I only got one of the...
No, but I only asked you to name one, so you're good.
Oh, I thought I had to get all 3. Okay,
No,
great. Perfect. Nice.
The next 3 questions are all... You have to name the exception to the rule, okay? So I'm going to give you a general rule that applies to me within the sphere of board gaming, but you need to name an exception to it, okay?
The next 3 are all this?
Yes.
Okay. This is a good game show, by the way.
So the first rule is I typically don't like cooperative games.
Okay.
Name the exception to the rule. There's a couple different things that could apply.
Yeah, well, Spirit Island immediately comes to mind, but I'm gonna put that there tentatively while I think if there's any other ones. I know. Have you played Captain Sonar? I don't want to think too much. I'm gonna say Spirit Island.
I will allow it. My two options I really would have allowed, I think, are Gloomhaven and Spirit Island.
Oh yeah, Doug Gloomhaven.
Okay. Next one's a little harder, Cody. I typically don't like solo gaming. Name an exception to the rule.
Crap. What was that one? Let's go to Japan. Is that what it's called?
Oh, okay, yeah. I actually didn't think of that one because it's been more recent. But I will allow that.
I know you better than you know yourself.
Maybe. I had
what were you gonna say?
Heat as my primary answer for the question. Also, La Granja and Hadrian's Wall I played quite a bit solo. And let's go to Japan.
Okay.
So.
Okay, nice.
All right, last question. This one's going to be hard, and I will allow you to. You can't look at my. You can use BGG. You cannot look at my account and what I've rated games, but I'll allow you to use BGG as a tool for this question. Okay.
Can I look at our top 100?
Nope.
From the last year. Nope. Okay.
That won't matter. The rule is Alexander Pfister's games are pretty amazing. Name my exception to the rule. What's his one game that I did not like? And I will allow you to look up his catalog.
I'm going there. Gotta select.
But it's a hard question.
Board games. See, I have to know which ones you've played.
That's the thing.
I'm just to save myself some grief. I'm only going to look at his notable games include lists. So I know you like Great Western Trail. I'm pretty sure you like Maracaibo, even though doesn't that one have like dumb art? And Isle of Skye, Broom Service, It's actually not a... There's probably some I'm missing. I'm going to go to see all, sort by rank. Let this be a case study to all you out there of how to appropriately use BGG when you're trying to search stuff. Have you mentioned it to me before?
I'm not sure if I have or not. It might have come up, but I'm not sure if it has.
So I may not even know if you've played it or even heard of it.
I'm
just going to have to make a guess.
Yeah, kind of what you know is what I have played and what I do like. So it's kind of have some information.
Yeah, let's just throw, like, I don't know, Sky Mines out there. What even is that? Nate does not like Sky Mines.
I don't know.
Makes sense.
I haven't played it. I would like to play Sky Mines. Sky Mines is a reimplementation of Mombasa. I would like to play one or either of those.
Okay.
The answer is Oh My Goods, which is...
Oh, okay.
Some people really love this game. It's not for me. It's an incredibly frustrating little card game. So,
is this the same guy that did all the art for Agricola?
It looks like Clemens Franz. I'm going to assume it is.
Oh, it is Clemens Franz.
Yeah.
All right.
Classic.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, never heard of this. Not going to play it now.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, some people love it. I mean, its overall rank is 790, which certainly isn't bad, but definitely not my kind of game.
Alternate names. Aye, my goods.
All right, Cody, that was a long intro question. Did you play anything since we last recorded?
That was fun, though. Have I? Yes, I played Planted last night, homie.
Ah, okay.
It was a Christmas present from my brother because he likes playing it. But he likes playing it with his 6-year-old son. So that should give you something to should give you some idea. I think this is Phil Walker Harding, I recall,
okay.
Which possibly is like one of the only games I've ever played by Phil Walker Harding.
Yeah, he's one of those designers that I just haven't gotten around to. I'm trying to think. I've played Imhotep and Sushi Go.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I played
it.
Sushi Go. So I at least have... Okay, so this is the second game by Phil Walker Harding I played. Now, I will say, when I went through and I learned it, I was like, oh my gosh, this is boring. Mm-hmm. This is very easy and boring. So I will give it credit that when we actually played it, I was like, okay, there is actually some mildly entertaining strategic decisions that you are making in the game. But all that being said, it was... We're not going to keep it. You know, we're moving anyway, and I'm purging through my collection, so it's going on the sell pile. It was worth a play, and it's something like if it appeared at a game night somewhere, I would play it. But really, the whole game it's a drafting game, so everyone starts the round with 8 cards. You pick one, and you pass all the cards to your left, and you have to alternate, Nate, each round. Go to the left or go to your right, and it makes no difference if you're doing a 2-player game like I did with Kirsten, where you just pass across the table. And then each card you put down, and you can take for that card resources if they show the resources, like sunlight and water. And then you can use those resources at the end of the round to try to feed any plant cards you have acquired. And it's basically just that simple. The other cards you can get are like tools, which are ongoing abilities, and decorations, which are endgame scoring. So it's all like, there's nothing new in it, really. It's just very straightforward.
Yeah.
So it was okay. It was fine. I played that.
I think it's maybe riding off the theme and the look, right? It's got that kind of like, I don't know. You know these people that are just like obsessed with, what are they called? Succubus? No. What's the name of that plant? What's the name of the plant?
Succulent, herbaceous.
Succulent. Yeah.
Those ones.
Yeah. Succulents. It's got that kind of like vibe, that kind of like white moms, kind of a thing. You know what I mean? Like that minimalist.
Suburban moms.
Yeah. But points for production. It looks good. You know?
I do just want to clarify that Google says a succubus is a female demon or supernatural being that appears in dreams to seduce men. So...
Yeah, you know, white moms are all about that.
I will say that Planted, it does have some fairly
succubus
dope production
vibes.
quality. Yeah, some good succubus vibes. No, like the pieces, like has some good water drops, some sunlight things, and the bags they come in look like little seed bags.
Yeah, it looks decent for sure.
Yeah. All right. How about you? Any new plays?
Yeah, my one I'm going to spotlight is of significantly more clout, I think. This is Kutna Hora, the City of Silver. For those of you following along at home, that's Kutna, and then it should show up after that.
Kutna.
This is a cool action selection game whereby you have a hand of cards that are all... you can flip them, right? So if you play the card one way, you can do this action. If you play it the other way, you can do that action, right? So every turn, you're picking a card to play, and you're doing one action and forfeiting the other one, right? And then at the end of the round, you'll pick them all back up into your hand. So I like that system for selecting actions. And then you are predominantly building buildings out on a board for adjacency points and bonuses. There's this mining system where you are mining silver, which is kind of just like a rows and columns scoring mechanism. So you're kind of doing those two different things, but there's a couple of things that make this game really cool. One, there's like 6 or 8 different guilds, and those guilds all have buildings associated with them. And you will be aligned with randomly three of those guilds at the beginning of the game. What this means is you can only build buildings from those guilds. You can't build buildings from the other ones. And it's got a weird central economy where multiple people are affecting the economy. And I don't know if you're looking at pictures of it, but there's like this weird card setup with sliders. And
I'm looking at it, yeah.
Yeah, as you build buildings, the resources will become, I think, less plentiful. So the cost of the resource associated with that building will go up, but you will receive more of the resource for income purposes. Or something like that. It's a weird system that works surprisingly well, with like these 6 or 8 different resources that are all being affected by the different guilds and you building. So the cost of resources is constantly changing, and you use the resources for different things in the game. But what's cool is the only resource you physically have is money. So the cost of those is being affected. So like wood might be worth 2, and later in the game it might be worth 4, which means if you want to build a building that costs 9 wood, you want to build it when wood is only worth 2, because then it only costs you 18 coin. But if you build it later, it's going to cost you 36 coin if wood is worth 4, right?
Okay.
So there's a lot of weird timing stuff, and it's a global economy too, so everyone's kind of affecting it depending on which guilds they're aligned with. So that's kind of the main driving force of the game, is manipulating that economy and then using it to build buildings, score points, get stuff off your player board for bonuses, and all that other fun Euro-y stuff. So Kutna Hora, pretty fun. Played it a few times. Would definitely recommend. Has a good look too.
What should I prioritize? Kutna Hora, or what's that other really colorful track-based one?
Oh, Arborea.
Arborea? Yeah.
Oof. Kutna Hora is definitely the simpler of the two. It doesn't seem like it at first glance, but it is definitely the simpler game of the two. I honestly don't know, man. I would say you'd have to do research and, figure out based on your personal preferences which one seems more like your jam. My hunch is that Kirsten may not like Arborea, because it's just...
Okay.
It's not that she doesn't like thinky games, because she loves brass and stuff, but it's just so... obtuse. I feel like I use that word a lot, but it's just weird, man. It's just unintuitive and weird. So it's much more likely that she would like Kutna Hora, I think.
Okay. Yeah, if there's too many things going on, that's when she starts getting...
And with Kutna Hora, it seems like there's too much going on, but once you finish the first game, you're like, oh, that was, first of all, faster than you expect, and second of all, really not that difficult. There's only a couple different main things you're doing in the game. So, yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm adding this to the list.
Cool.
All right. Well, that was a long beginner segment. We haven't done that in a while, I feel like.
We better blast on then, Cody, to our mystery game of the week.
Do I roll both the D20 and the letters, or do you roll something?
You do all the rolling, I think. I do the typing.
All right. We got B-O.
B-O. And?
Rolling a D20 now. Number 14. You're going to have to count a bit.
Ooh, okay, interesting, Cody. We have our game of the week is Slay the Spire, the board game. Are you familiar? Are you familiar with this, Cody?
Whoa, dude, this is rank 82.
It absolutely is. This was like
it just came out.
This was one of the hottest games last year. So essentially, what I know about this is that it is a re-implementation of a video game. Or not a re-implementation, it's a direct adaptation of a video game, which is essentially just a boss battler, I believe. and a deck builder as well. Let's see here. Where's our...
Oh, this is expensive. It's like $115 on Amazon.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's a big box, a lot of content. I don't know if it's a campaign game, but there's a lot of content.
Okay.
So yeah, it looks like it's got deck building and dice rolling and hand management. It's cooperative, so you're all going together to fight this boss. But I mean, look at that rating, dude. It's an 8.8.
I was gonna say, out of how many ratings? 749. Oh, no, that's actual comments. It's received 1.8 thousand tens. Dang.
Yeah, people love this game, man.
That's, I mean, I'm just looking at, like, the main picture, like, with the cards. They don't look like anything special.
So it's weird. I've had the same thoughts. In fact, I've even watched people play this because somebody in the group owns it, so I was watching part of the game. And it seems like... just watching him play it, I wasn't even intrigued, really. You know, I'm not sure why. I guess partially I didn't know what was going on. One thing I will say about it is it seems very cooperative, as in it's not just like you're doing your own solo mini game that's contributing, but there is a lot of like, I'm helping you, you're helping me, they're helping them. There is a lot of like cooperation involved, which is cool.
Yeah. I will say I like that the community vote for best number of players is 2. I feel like you don't see that super often, which is annoying when I primarily play games with just Kirsten, and then all the games are like best at 3, best at 4.
Well, a lot of Euros are that way. And in my opinion, it's true. It's like a lot of like typical Euro games are best at 3 because they generally have a decent amount of interaction that doesn't always work as well with 2 players. But I know a lot of people solo this too because... Well, I'm not sure why, but I guess it's fun that way.
I want to read some of the ones. How do I read them?
Yeah, that's a good idea because it's so popular, right?
First one is, I'm giving it a 1 because people are giving it a 10.
Wow, that's pretty typical, isn't it?
Hate that. The whole balancing a 1, balancing a 10 thing. Wow. There's like 4 comments for 1s.
Okay.
So one of them is what I just read. One of them is played through it once and realized I already owned this game and logged 40 hours with it on my PC. Waste of money. Then the other 2 comments are like 3 to 4 paragraphs long.
So that's one reason why people love it, though, is because it really is just a like almost pulled directly from the video game, and a lot of people say they like it more than the video game. So,
okay. See, I mean, this is probably no comparison at all to content, but I am thinking now of Fallout Shelter, because that was a like a handheld like mobile game, and that's where the board game came from.
Those are pretty different, though, aren't they?
You mean the mobile game versus the board game?
Yeah, like Fallout Shelter, the mobile game is more of like a Clash of Clans kind of. You're playing the long game, building up your own.
Yeah, that's true.
Haven.
There's resources you're generating and whatnot. Yeah, I guess this is more you just literally just building like sections to get points. So I guess it's a little bit different. Fairly different.
So looking at the 10 ratings here, probably like at least half, if not more than half, are mentioning that if you love the video game, you're going to love this. So a lot of people that love this are coming from the video game, to be sure. I'm seeing it's one of the best, if not the best, 2-player co-op game at the moment. Yeah, definitely popular. Again, I don't know if it'd be my jam. I would definitely be willing to give it a try simply because it's so popular. But I'm not sure if I would love it or not. I really don't know. What about you?
All right. I mean, I want to give it a try. I'm curious how much the video game is. If I could just give that a try and see if I like it.
Right. Well, it's
might be cheaper than a $120 board game, right?
Yeah, I would check out Steam. I think it's going to be cheaper. But then the question, I don't know. I don't know if that'd be, I mean, I'm sure people like it, but to me, it doesn't seem like that interesting of a video game either. I don't know. But I have my own preferences. You know, I don't typically like boss battler type things. I don't love it. So
yeah, I'm like, because that's like the whole spiel of what's the whole series? It's like Dark Souls, Elden Ring. Like, how it's just constantly just fighting big bosses. Yeah, I'm not as interested in all that. It's only like 25 on Steam though, which isn't bad. Although I will say the cover for the game is the cover of the board game. So they just stole it for the board game.
Again, I can understand why some people would hate that because they want something new, right? They want a spin-off. And I could see why some people love it because they just want an adaptation, you know?
How do you feel about maybe it's actually not out yet, the upcoming Call of Duty, the board game?
Honestly, I could care less, dude. First of all, you're the Call of Duty guy. I'm not a Call of Duty guy, really. If there was a Halo game, I might be more interested. But I don't care, man. It's a Kickstarter, too, which at this point, Kickstarters have such a... I'm just so uninterested. I think it's a Kickstarter. I could be wrong. But, like, I don't know, man. It's really hard to get me to not be pessimistic about overproduced games.
Well, I mean, I'm looking at it. It's like you have a grenade card, and then I don't know. It's kind of hard to like see it now. I remember looking at this a while ago, and there was like the grenade card. There might have been like actions that you can take with cards. It just seems sort of cheesy for me. It's like you shouldn't make a board game like this out of a video game. So unless they're doing something pretty unique or cool with it, I don't know. I'm speaking not particularly from much experience, so
for sure. And it's weird, like,
a grain of salt.
Despite all the good IP games that have come out, my hackles raise a little bit when I see another one come out, and I'm like, man, is it a cash grab? And Call of Duty, I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know. Like I said, if it was Halo...
Arcane Wonders. What?
If it was Halo, I might be more interested in looking into it, but Call of Duty, no.
Are there... Was that something... I feel like we looked that up recently. There's like no Halo games. No, there are Halo games.
Yeah, but I think they're all...
What was the... That was some sort of like a board banter or something, or challenge that we had, and it's like we were trying to find...
Well...
It was like a question you gave me. Which IP does not have a game adaptation?
Yeah, it wasn't Halo. I mean, the one that... I can't remember what the answer was for that one, but honestly, there's quite a few Halo games just looking on
I'm finding them now.
But I've never heard of any of them. So
they all look like trash. Halo Ground Command doesn't even have any. It's not even rated. I mean, it has a rating, but it's not ranked. The publisher is Spartan Games.
Sure it is.
Yeah.
Kind of shoehorned or painted themselves into a corner there.
Just a little bit, yeah.
All right, so
that was Call of Duty the board game. Good mystery game of the week.
That was Video Games the board game. How are we going to go about this? This is the first time in a while that we've just done a discussion as our board banter.
I mean, I have some I kind of have like 3-ish points written down, but I figured we'll just bounce off each other. I'm sure we'll kind of copy some of each other's points as we go. So we'll just make it a conversation. See what happens.
Okay. So we are talking about something that has been talked about quite a bit over the past couple of years, which is, AI slowly being grafted into specifically art in board games. Cody, when you hear AI in board games or AI art in board games, what's your gut reaction to that? Black.
Yep. Lock. Now, for how I approach this, figured this conversation is going to revolve specifically around AI in board games. So I wasn't planning on getting into like the whole AI discussion in general, because that's a big old can of worms.
Yeah, we can't do that.
And we ain't got the time nor the inclination to do that. But yeah, that's kind of my reaction. What's your reaction?
It's kind of an eye-rolling thing, but also it's kind of I know that there's a hate train, and sometimes I also don't want to be on the hate train either, necessarily. Sometimes I shy away a little bit from just jumping onto a hate train without, thinking about it too much. But my gut reaction is still... Well, my gut reaction anyways to any AI-generated images is that they generally look pretty cringy. And I know that that's going to change, and it is changing. And soon, you won't be able to discern, I think. We're at a point still where you can most of the time, right? Sometimes it's obvious. Other times you have to study it a bit, but you can still discern, pretty well. But I think it's fast approaching where you won't be able to anymore. And that is going to be interesting when we reach that point.
Yeah. Exponential progression of technology.
Yeah, man. Destroy civilizations. The Egyptians have been through this before. Okay. Anyways.
All right.
Some of my major issues here is, well, there's the big one. There's the obvious one, right? Which is that we're, potentially taking jobs from artists, right? Now, this is interesting because this is not just an AI discussion. This is a discussion we've been having for whatever, 50, 60, 70 years since computers have started taking humans' jobs, period. This has always been a discussion, right? You've got, whatever, calculators, and you've got self-checkouts, and there's a lot of things that have been taking the place of humans doing something for a while. So that discussion is not new in any form, but it's a little bit different here because now we're talking about art. This is no longer a mathematical thing. It's no longer an objective thing. It's something that you create from your soul, from your personality, from your inclinations. And so to have a machine doing that is definitely feels a little bit weird when you have a creative project, but then you have something cold doing the presentation of it, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna tag you on that because I think this is definitely the drive of where most people get that hate train going, which is what annoys me a little bit. I think it's very common. And I know we can kind of like sit back and be like, people are so dumb. And so I'm aware that that's a thing that can happen. But it seems like online, people will get upset about a thing, and they probably don't really even actually care that much about it. Like if you talk to them on the street, they'll be like, oh, yeah, whatever. But online, they're like, all caps, and I feel like a lot of that's happening here. So I have some pushback to that. I want that to say, I think folks need to chill a little bit and refine their argument. Because the main thrust of it does seem to be that it deprives freelance artists of jobs. But like you were saying, like this has been a discussion, like technology always replaces people's job. That is the focus and the use of technology, is that it reduces labor to streamline a process.
Efficiency.
And that doesn't mean like maybe a job disappears, but usually a job just changes. I mean, like look at how much technology has happened. Everyone still has jobs, right? We still do something.
Everyone. It's true. Everyone does.
Exactly. It's not as everyone just lost their job and then died of starvation, right? So, but I think the focus should more be that, like you were saying, this is now replacing creativity. This is a uniquely human thing that we're, instead of just being a pair of hands and a brain sitting in a cubicle to like do some accounting or taxes or something. It's like this actually is the expression of the human soul. And at this point, it's not, because AI art it's just copying, right? Like a bunch of other things. It's predicting what the most liked thing is going to be, and then it spits it out. So it's not creative, it's just an algorithm.
Well, I think if you see something come up on Kickstarter or whatever, you see a project come to life or that's being formulated that's using AI art as the final, like for the final product, not in the fundamental stages, but for the final product. What that says to me is the person creating this project cares more about making money than following a passion. Right? Because if you're doing it, but you want to use AI art, what you're saying is that, well, I don't really care what somebody else's opinion about what this could look like or how it would look, or what it means to someone else. All I care about is, hey, it's a lot easier to do it this way. Still, it looks pretty decent. It's free, right? And it saves me having to cooperate with somebody else and collaborate and figure something out and deal with somebody else's feedback and opinions and go through the creative process. I can just click some buttons, get some images that I like, make some modifications maybe, and boom, you're done, right? So it seems more of a business mentality than a pursuing a passion mentality.
I think there can be some pursuing a passion mentality in it too. Now, I don't know how often this scenario comes up. But usually the argument is this is going to make it so that another creative person can't do their thing. But like, and this is the scenario that I don't know like how often it comes up now, is what I'm about to say, is you have people who want to design a game, like that is their passion. And maybe they're not financially able to pay $400 or $500 to like get some concept art, or even like actual endgame art, like for the product. So is it reasonable to like say, because this artist over here isn't going to be able to get supported for their creativity, that now we have to drag down this other person who wouldn't be able to like produce the game, which would be their own passion? Again, maybe that's like a really specific scenario that isn't actually particularly realistic, but I feel like the person using it should be cut some slack.
Yeah, that's interesting, right? Like if you don't have the capital But I mean, that's what crowdfunding is for, right? You don't have the capital up front, and
True.
so you seek out other people who might be interested in it, and you get it from them, right? I mean, I know recently there was some big debacle with some game. I can't remember the name of it anymore. This was like last year, or maybe even less than a year ago. Some big game that hit Kickstarter that used almost exclusively AI art, and everyone was up in arms about it. But it funded like 1,000,000% or whatever. It was a whole thing, right? I think, but that's what crowdfunding is for. And now crowdfunding has become oversaturated, I think, and so there's so much noise that it's like, well, how do you get noticed without a like fantastic product page? You know, without checking all the boxes you have to check. You got to have a solo mode. You got to have like all this stuff, right? And it has to look professional. It's like, well, that's going to require capital anyways, because you have to have the know-how to make it look good. So, but I guess typically when you go into a Kickstarter campaign, you probably want to have the art squared away first, because that's what's going to draw people's attention.
Exactly. People are very visual, and that's the thing that's going to actually get the Kickstarter going for the most part.
I will always strongly believe that the cover of a board game matters more than anything else if you want to move units. I really think so.
Yeah, and to that end, I will say that at least for now, while we can still kind of tell that it's AI, my gut reaction is like, if I see a game that has that, no matter what, it just kind of feels yucky and I become uninterested. Or if I can't tell, but then I learn that it is AI, it's, it just kind of, it makes me not want to get the thing. And I think that's going to be overwhelmingly the reaction from the public. And so as such, I think it's just not a great business move. Like you're trying to save money, but you're probably not actually going to get any products sold at that point. Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of people that don't mind, though, especially because this might be decreasing the product, the price of a product, too. You know, because this comes up, too, where you talk about like, well, what about manufacturing? Don't we want to like, I don't know, there's a lot of people that don't want to support things that are being made in China, right? There's a lot of people that want to support more domestically made stuff. And it's like, okay, well, the price tag is changing. And so there's a lot of people that are like, I don't care. I just want the cheapest possible thing. So I'd much rather buy it for China or off of friggin' Temu or whatever, It's like, I don't care. I just want to save money. And that's what a lot of people care about first and foremost, And so there will be a lot of people that would still support like AI things with AI, imagery and whatnot, because probably the price tag is going to be a little bit lower. Yeah. I will say one weird thing is that if you're using AI art, to my knowledge, you cannot trademark that. If you create a world, a fantasy world or something, you can't trademark that, I don't think. And so somebody else can just take it and use it, right? Somebody else could make their own board game using your entire world, using all of your art and everything, and I don't think you could do anything about it.
If we can keep it that way, I feel like that would be a good, just natural regulation.
Potentially.
To kind of keep it from going crazy.
Yeah, because like if it's like, oh, well, this is super popular, it's like, well, then anyone can cash in on that, right?
Yeah. And at that point, like if you're creating something that's going to be that compelling and interesting, like you should be able to just invest and pay someone to do it for you and make it a whole project. Or do the crowdfunding, do a Kickstarter.
Or hopefully you would just have the desire to, at least.
Yeah. Or, Nate, just become an artist. Am I right? Like,
just start honing that skill.
Yeah, just do it. Just do all of it.
So I will say...
Of course, though... Oh, yeah?
Of course what, Cody?
Well, I was going to say, this is kind of like a cheap cop-out answer, but it's excellent for prototyping. Like, that's just a thing. It's an excellent tool if you're trying to make a game and you need to know if you're going to play test it a bunch and you don't want it to just be like some stick figures on a card. Like, that's going to be a useful tool. Or even just concepting if you're trying to get some ideas of what the layout's going to look like. I feel like that's pretty good.
I use it for that, right? Because it's perfectly fine if you just want to use it to see how things look, like color contrast. Do I want this as a background, or do I want to go a different direction with backgrounds? What are the icons look like, and how do they look like on these backgrounds? All that kind of stuff, right? And then like you said, it's like I would have no problem creating a prototype, maybe multiple copies for playtesting purposes only, right? And using entirely AI art, because it's like, well, I'm not going to sell it. I'm not trying to make money off of it. I'm not taking anybody's job because I wasn't going to pay anybody to do this. I'm just trying to make a prototype to see if the game works, right? So
Sure.
for all of those reasons and more, I like there's absolutely nothing wrong with using it, and it can definitely be a catalyst for the process of creating a board game.
A tool that should be used appropriately. With great power comes great responsibility.
And it's funny, like, we don't want to get into the other aspects of AI, uses in life, but this discussion can almost be kind of like copied and pasted into a lot of other discussions about AI. It's like there are certain, certain phases of a project you're working on or certain uses that it's really great to use it, but maybe you don't always want it to play a super formative part in the finished product, right? So,
kids, get yourself a career that is AI proof. It's my recommendation.
That's AI. Like that cannot be replaced?
Yes.
Name one.
Plumber, electrician.
I guess then you get into the discussion of like, robotics and whatnot. But at the end of the day, somebody's got to twist the wrench. And, there are certain aspects of every profession that can be started to be taken over a little bit by AI, but there are certain things that, of course, you just never physically cannot happen, right? So
yeah, for sure.
Firefighters, for example.
I'm sure we'll get some robotic firefighters here soon, dude.
In a way, maybe, but like I don't know. But we don't want to go down this road.
I know.
Definitely don't want to.
That was actually a pretty quick discussion. If we end this here, this is actually going to be a shorter episode than we normally do, which is weird, depending on
45, 50
considering
minutes.
how it started. Yeah.
I mean, I guess we just need to do lists, man.
More lists.
More lists.
I like them lists, man.
The people want more lists. I don't know if they do.
And remember, never trust a buddy. Hey, people out there, you know that you can comment on these, right? You can tell us things you want to see. You can give us ideas for board banters that you want us to do. You can even suggest games of the week that you want us to discuss, if we haven't before and we've both played it.
And if we want to.
I suppose you could even give us a mystery game of the week. That'd be fine. I mean, we don't know them anyway.
Yeah, because right now our typical mystery game, or a typical game of the week, is something we don't know anyway. So we kind of are just constantly talking out of our depth anyways.
So, go watch Hoodwinked, everyone.